So thank you. My talk will be focused on coastal areas. Of course, those areas are already impacted by climate change, and these impacts will increase in the near future, as I will show to you. Our coastal areas include a large number of world natural and cultural heritage. And at the scale of France and Italy, of course, we can speak about Venice and its lagoon, Mont Saint-Michel Bay, Cordouan Lighthouse, Wadden Sea in the Netherlands in Europe. So in this regard, coastal areas are at the forefront of climate change, green transition and preservation, or migration or transformation of the natural and cultural heritage. So next slide, please. So a general presentation of coastlines. In this sketch, you can see sedimentary coastlines, which are represented based on their evolution. So at the top left, you have what we call regressive shoreline. It means the shoreline is migrating towards the sea, and oppositely we have transgressive shoreline, which means the sea is invading the coastline. So next one. Of course, I don't speak about rocky shorelines, which are at the scale of the world really important, but I will speak only on sedimentary coasts, because sedimentary coasts are fastly evolving and are key areas for human activities, harbors, cities, etc. So a sketch for regressive coast, click please, and you will see how it works. So you have a sedimentary accumulation. We are here in cross section, and of course, because of this sedimentary accumulation, you have a shoreline migration towards the sea. So this works in deltas. Oppositely, in transgressive coast, next one, please. You will have, you have to click, you will have erosion and shoreline migration towards the continent. Next one. So what those two first slides the objective was to show you the natural evolution without any climate change. So let's move to climate change, and one of the most important consequences of climate change is the global sea level rise. So I could show many curves, but I just choose this one to have a long-term perspective. You can see that we have here a sea level record for 2,000 years, and the main result is the following. Since the beginning of the 20th century, sea level rise is 3 to 5 times faster than during the last 1,000 years. Next one. So important also is to look for the global sea level rise and to the forcing parameters. And I have to say to you that the sea level budget is now closed, and it's very important to speak about this, because as you know, there are many people who are climato-sceptic, and it's important to say that thousands of scientists are working on this subject. So about the measurement, they are made from tide gauges and satellite altimeters. Next one, please. And about the forcing parameter, of course, you have scientists which are working on glacier melting. Next one. Oceanography and the heating of oceans. Next one. And others are working on water on continents, on lakes, rivers, and underground water. And when you make the summation of all those contributions, next one, please, you have a close budget. So let's move to the next slide. What about the projection? So you know that from the IPCC report of 2019, they proposed two main scenarios. The RCP 2.5, meaning low emission scenario, and the RCP 8.5, meaning nothing change, business as usual. And you can see the projection for the end of the 21st century, 43 centimeter to 84 centimeter at the global scale. And of course, if you are looking to a projection for 2,200 or 2,300, it will be worst. Next one. So, next, okay, just to say to you that if you want to be really aware about the projection in your coastal area, in France or in Italy, you can have a look to this website, which is a NASA website, which use data from IPCC, and you can have the projection depending on the scenario you choose. Alors, for example, in La Rochelle City, where I am living, I have choose a sea level rise for the 2.6 scenario, and you can see the elevation in 2,100. And next one, please. And this is the scenario 8.5. So, of course, you have some variation depending on the coastline you are living on. Next one. Alors, what does that mean, sea level rise? Sea level rise means coastal retreat, and we can say that approximately the coastal retreat will be 100 times the sea level rise. So it means that if you have the scenario 2.6, it means 38 meters of coastal retreat, and for the 8.5 scenario, 64 meters coastal retreat. Next one. Alors, in some areas, you have subsidence. So subsidence means you have a vertical motion of the coastline. Next one, please. And of course, this will dramatically increase the relative sea level rise. Next one. So this kind of phenomena arise mainly in deltas. So I took here a picture of the Mississippi Delta. Next one, please. And yes, we can say that deltas are the worst places because you have sea level rise, you have subsidence, and also you have dams in rivers, which are obstacle for sediments. And for all those reasons, you have a dramatic erosion and sinking of deltas all around the world. Next one, please. So to be exact, we have to take into account that in some areas you have uplifted coastlines. So next one. Meaning regression. And I took this example in New Zealand because it's a very active tectonic place where you have uplifted beaches, which are labeled with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that in 1855, there was a strong earthquakes leading to an uplift of more than 6 meters. Next one. So to be complete also, I have to speak about local sea level rise, which are driven by storm surges or tsunami. So let's speak about storm surges. Next one. So I will be very fast because I don't have a lot of time, but you can click and see all the events. So you have the tide, you have the pressure fold, you have the wind setup, the wave setup. Next one. The swash, and all of these phenomena lead to a sea level elevation, which is, of course, local. Alors, I can give you some examples. For example, the Xynthia example in France is very famous with elevation of 1.6 meter. And in tropical areas, you can reach 6, 8 meters, for example, example, if you look at Katrina storm or this kind of events. Next one. So if you combine sea level rise and extreme levels, with sea level rise, you will have an increase in frequency of extreme sea levels. And this is very important to take into account. It means that, for example, in the place where I live, we have counted something like one marine submersion every 11 years. So it means that in the next future, it will happen with a higher frequency. So next one. Just a few words also about human-induced vulnerability. You have to know that in many places in the world, we have made land reclamation. So land reclamation means that the sea cannot invade the coastal areas, but it also means that sediment cannot reach the coastal areas. And for this reason, land reclaimed areas are subsiding. And of course, on the other side, you have sea level rise. And this picture to show you that in the Marais Poitevin in Western France, we have this area in blue, which is located today below sea level, maximum sea level. And this area is really huge because it's 70 kilometers long by 20 to 30 kilometers large. Next one. So let's speak to adaptation. This is a slide from the IPCC report. So they propose to define 6 adaptation strategies. And next one, please. So in case of adaptation, we have also this way of classification. To my opinion, we can use our defenses. Alors, this is a Biarritz example with 20 million euros. Alors, of course, this is very efficient. The coastline is fixed, but at high tide, of course, you will not have a beach anymore. And it can be a problem for tourism, for example. Next one. Another way of adaptation is soft defenses. So this is a sand motor example near Rotterdam in Netherlands, 70 million euro. So it's quite efficient. So people from Netherlands are saying that they are working with nature, but you don't forget that you need a lot of boats and a lot of energy to transport all this sand to reconstruct the beach. Next one. So now I will take the end of my talk to speak about nature-based solution. Alors, why I make a focus on this? It's because hard and soft defenses are very energy consuming. And of course, this is not compatible with planetary limits and green transition, which imply less energy consumption. So I will show you that in nature-based solution offers numerous advantages, and I will show you some of them based on my experience on coastal studies. So this is the first example. It is Mortagne-sur-Gironde in the Gironde estuary. And after the storm Martin, there was a breach on this area of the estuary. And next one, please. Before the storm, the farmed fields were 90 centimeters below highest astronomical tides. And after the breach, sedimentation rate was very fast, 9 centimeters per year. And because also of the flooding of these fields, there was a big increase in biodiversity. So it's really important to look at this sedimentation rate, which implies that submerged areas can adapt to sea level rise. Next one. Another nice example in Rochefort-sur-Mer during the Xynthia storm. So next one, please. So you can see from the blue curve that there are some variation in sea level. These are related to tide in Rochefort City. So if you look at the picture in 3D, you can see Rochefort City, which is located in a meander of the Charente River. And you can see that the tidal curve, one place during Xynthia, is almost flat. And we ask ourselves why it is so flat. Answer related to the flooding of adjacent areas during the storm. So you can click on the picture, please. The animation does not work. You can click on the play. Yes. Okay. So this is an animation of the Xynthia flooding. And you can see that the flooding mainly occurs between the city and the sea, which is located to the uppermost part of the figure. And because of this flooding, it prevents sea level rise close to the city. And so the main message is the following. If flooding occur, then you can protect some adjacent areas. Next one, please. And the last slide to show some advantages about nature-based solutions. So we worked on the many coastal areas close to La Rochelle, Aiguillon Bay, Fier d'Ars, Brouage Marsh. And we have made those two graphs. You have the sedimentation rate, which is compared to other areas, coastal areas in the world. And you can see that sedimentation rates are really important, between 1 and 2 centimeters per year in some cases, meaning that those coastal areas can adapt to sea level rise, because you have to keep in mind that the sea level rise is today 3.6 millimeters per year. And another advantage is related to the carbon trapping, which is also named blue carbon. And we have computed the carbon trapping in those marshes, and you can see that that those marshes are able to trap carbon. And 1 hectare of those salt marshes is equivalent to the production of 1 French people. Next one. So this is a conclusion about ecosystem-based solution. So you can see that there are many advantages: the barrier effect due to sedimentation, extreme sea level limitations, carbon trapping, biodiversity. And I didn't speak a lot about water quality and landscape and heritage. Next one. So to conclude, I would say that nature-based solutions are increasingly popular in the academic world. However, adaptation and implementation of this solution are today relatively limited due to various barriers. So among these barriers, there is a problem of education and awareness. So we decide to make some shows, scientific shows, to increase the awareness of the public. And next one, we also made some books for the general public to increase education and awareness. So thank you for your attention. Next one.